We are live.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, so we do have a quorum on number one. Attendance has been taken. So number two, everybody has got the minutes, so is there approval of the March 24, 2026 minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, we're gonna go right in order, because number three, Joe is gonna do a bunch of explanations here. And they'll coincide with number four with the three resolutions, so. Joe, why don't you just take them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, how's that?
Sure. So the first item here is the annual contract review for NX Architecture. We are required to review our annual contracts annually. So NX, we've been working with them since 2024, and they are basically the lead design firm for all of the projects. They come with a number of other engineering firms that assist with the design portions of our work. So this contract, what it enables us to do is work with them to do the initial feasibility and design for the pre-development portion of the project. So when we acquire a property and we need to figure out what to do with it, we use LBI money to pay them to help us figure out what the project is actually going to be. They help with site plans and permitting and all of that, and that's all paid through the LBI program. Once the project gets going, meaning we were successful in the pre-development process and we got other money, either through us or Seneca Housing, they then get paid from that new pot of money for the rest of the project, and that falls under a different contract and a different scope of work. But this pre-development piece, that's what this pays for, and we've been very happy with NX's services. The only real thing of note, the only difference is in 2024, the rate was $175 an hour, and now in 2026, it's $195. So they didn't raise it in 2025. So that's that first resolution we'll be seeing. Other updates, the Seneca Housing Project in Oban Willard, that one is going nicely. We have LBI money committed to it. We have the money from Romulus from the closed CDBG program they had down there committed to it, and county money committed to it through ARPA and the Housing Trust Fund, as well as a large amount of HCR funding through Seneca Housing. So that being said, we have the money that we need to get the project done. The reason I bring that up is that we've been digging foundations and working with Phil and working through the issues when you start digging in the ground where something else has been built and finding things that you weren't quite expecting, plus all the rain. So with the wet conditions, there are certain compaction criteria that they need to meet when setting their foundations and things like that. They measure the compaction, and this is something that HCR requires as well. Measuring the compaction to ensure that the foundation will be stable, and when you build on top of it, you don't want the foundation moving or anything like that. So the wet conditions have caused a lot of the material that they were planning on using that was generated from digging to be not the spec of compaction that's required. So we've been working through some change orders and some issues. We've arrived at a process that should limit the change order expenses going forward, especially the weather does seem to be getting incrementally better. So we're building 3 buildings. The first one, we've had a couple of changeovers roll through, and that one has been backfilled, it's done. The plumbing is all in, and they should be starting with the out of the groundwork, where the magnitude and amount of change orders is expected to decrease significantly. And working through the next 2 buildings in the same manner to get the backfill in, make sure it's dry, and make sure it meets compaction. And if it doesn't, figure out if we need to have further change orders or not. So all that being said, we have enough money and we're in good shape. Really happy with how that's come together. I will forward around the latest update from the contractors that has exactly what's happening in the schedule and some pictures and things. But if you happen to drive by the one in Willard, which it's on the bad end, it's not there, you'll have to go down there on purpose. You'll see all the pipes and things sticking up out of the foundation, and you'll start to see that happening in Ovid, I believe, by the end of this week, early next week, at the site in the back. And then the site in the front, they'll start digging probably around that same time. So we should be completely out of the ground in a couple of weeks here, and then the buildings will start going up on top of those foundations. So that's that. The Flacker projects in the Village of Waterloo, we're expecting those to get started on June 1st, which is coming up very quickly. Before that, you might notice a construction fence go up, and they're going to start doing some survey field work to get ready. But the actual construction work of moving dirt and those types of things isn't going to start until June 1st. You'll see a resolution later authorizing $20,000 for a contingency issue at that site from LBI. This is for the site at 55 Washington that's going to be facing up street. So that is an area where we haven't disturbed at all as a land bank because of the demolition on the other side of the property. And there is a potential, once they start digging, that the fill, that the material they pull out of that area won't be suitable to put back, which was the initial plan. And there's some things that they could do to mitigate that. They might be able to bring material from 17 Walnut. They might be able to use some material generated from the 55 Washington facing portion of that project. This would be an option C or D if they get to it. But we wanted to make sure that there was funding available if nothing else works, because we would like that project to succeed. So this is really a contingency of a contingency plan authorizing LBI usage for spill and underground issues that may be encountered at that site. But that one, I'm looking forward to that getting started. Once Flacker closes on their funding source and we sell them properties, the land bank is completely out of it. So on the Seneca housing project, we're helping to manage that one and fund that one all the way through construction. This one we are not. And we'll just sit back and just watch that one come together. Last meeting we had a discussion about potential property acquisitions in the Village of Waterloo. Tonight there's a resolution at this meeting as well as the Board of Supervisors meeting for acquiring 19 Locust Street. This property is 3-ish units. It's in pretty rough shape. Les and I had the pleasure of going through it when the appraiser came to figure out how much it was worth. So with the new regulations from New York State and the Supreme Court for how foreclosures are to proceed, we're no longer really in a position to be transferring foreclosed properties to the land bank for $1 anymore. We are in position to do appraised value, and the appraised value came out 65,000. I think, if I have my chain of events correct, that it did go to auction, and somebody bid 70,000. At the top
I
end.
believe so, then they backed out.
And then they wouldn't pay that 70,000 for it because it was so bad. The bid below that, I think, was 40-ish, 40,000. And then we came in at 65. The reason I bring all this up is that after you add up all the back taxes and the appraisal price and everything, there's still a $1,614 difference, which the county will need to pay for.
That's why I sent you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to short the county on that if it's grant money that we're getting. I mean, I don't know, and then I thought about it too, I don't know if the village, because now that the land bank, when they purchase it, it'll be exempt from property taxes. I don't know if the village has any re-levies though on the taxes, because then I was thinking, well, have you been mowing the lawn over there? Those type of things. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get, if it's money coming to us from the state through grants, I don't want to see any, like, municipalities or anybody get cheated out of it. That's all. Just some reimbursement. That's what I was gonna bring up.
Yeah. So I think we're really lucky in this instance. It's only $1,614. Looking forward to brownfield sites especially, like there could be hundreds and thousands of dollars out there in these types of situations, of stuff, taxes that weren't paid previously, fees, interest built up and all that type of thing, that the solution isn't readily available for that. So I think this is a low stakes conversation at this point, but looking down the road, it's going to get more complicated. And looking at other land banks, when like Syracuse and Buffalo land banks, which are very different operations, but are fundamentally the same, they have hundreds of these in a year. And they have to work with their cities and counties to figure out what they're going to do about that. Nobody is really happy with what's coming together, meaning the counties are having to not collect those values that are above the appraised value, those things, all those fees and back taxes. And the land bank is taking a lot of heat from the county for not being able to pay all of those back taxes. So it really just kind of highlights the issue that we're having, right? That we have a lot of vacant and abandoned buildings throughout the county for whatever reason have been not paying taxes for a lot of years. And we're now catching up with them and mitigating the problem, but we're needing to address the gap as we go.
Well, the interest alone, I mean, we're still, if we purchase it for 66,000, I mean, interest with it, I mean, that's without interest.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost $83,000 that they would have to pay with interest, if they were to keep the place, so.
So the 70,000, like if they had paid at auction the 70,000, if you would tally up the interest, you'd still be behind.
Correct.
And then the next high bid would have been 40 and very behind.
Right.
So in the context of that, $1,600 isn't too bad.
How can you buy at the auction, you don't have to pay the taxes? You used to have to, didn't you?
They changed it.
Well, we gotta pay, I think we gotta pay, well, it depends on,
I mean, the person, the guy that paid the 70, I always thought it was the selling price plus the back taxes.
No, it's just 2026, yeah, like that, yeah, you just have to pay the newest tax, the newest tax. It used to be that way, but since all the laws changed with New York State, everything had to be changed for that. So when they purchase it, we get what we get for it.
If you get too much, you have to save it and send it back to the.
It's called with surplus, we have to hold that for 3 years, and then they have to go to court to file paperwork to apply for
Even
surplus
getting
funds.
extra money is an
And we're
administrative.
going through that now with a few of them, and that's,
So this one won't have any surplus.
that is correct,
So this one had so many taxes and fees that there is no surplus.
which is easier for us, and
Yes.
it's easier for, for the land bank, I think, for the whole process to go through.
It doesn't matter either way for the land bank if there's surplus, because it's still a value. Like, we pay the value of the property, how much back taxes and fees. It's our business because we're good partners and professionals, but it's really not our business how much back taxes is on it.
Right.
We're interested in the value, and you're interested in the value because if you're supposed to get the appraised value for it, but then we give you extra money, that's gonna make the calculation strange should somebody investigate it from.
And this is the first year under the new one, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we didn't have one the year before in auction, because everything was changed. So we were letting other counties be the pioneers of, and follow suit. But a lot of counties did that too. A lot of counties had their auctions before us. But, and then a bunch of us waited a year, and then us, Ontario County, Wayne County, Cuba County, Tompkins County, we all kind of followed the train and went together and did ours together. So our paperwork was in line with everybody else's.
Yeah, I know Wayne County, their land bank over there is in the same position essentially, that they're using LBI funds to acquire properties, and a number of them had more outstanding taxes than the appraised value. And I think long-term, like we've had discussions about this as a housing strategy and in a few different venues. Like the idea we hope is we're gonna move to fewer foreclosures in general. And work through them more quickly. So when you get them, they're not as bad and they don't have as many outstanding fees. And they can allow for not just the land bank, but a higher quality development in general. So the longer they are threatened with foreclosure, the worse they get. So if we can shorten that time frame, it limits the amount of taxes that are able to accrue, and it makes redevelopment much more feasible for anybody, not just us. So $1,600. It could have been like this. And then the dry cleaner, I did reach out to the owner of the dry cleaner. We're trying to set something up to have a conversation. Hopefully next week, he should be able to come in. So more on that later. The transitional housing project, Tracy has been doing a great job visualizing and working on a plan to see that through. So the Presbyterian Church purchased 4 Seneca Lane and donated it to the land bank with the intention of it being transitional housing. And we are working on that. We believe that there is an opportunity to leverage funding that is already being spent by the county for transitional housing through the mental health department to help to finance the rehab of the property. And that is kind of step-by-step what we're working out. Tracy and I and some other members of the planning department are going to Batavia later this week for the local government training to track down a representative from HCR to talk about this. And we're hoping as the summer progresses here, to be in a position to apply for the rehab funding that we need to redo the property. It needs a lot of work. And then work with a partner of Seneca, of the mental health department to lease it as transitional housing. So more on that coming, but that's the direction we're trying to go with that. And then the last of the updates, the logo, our logo is made in 2017 with PowerPoint, and it's not great. And this has kind of come to a head as we needed to print off a sign to put on the fence for the Seneca Housing Project. And Tracy and I looked at the sign and said, this doesn't look good.
I did not say that.
I said that. Tracy agreed.
I did agree, but.
So, Tracy, you wanna?
Yeah, so one thing, I reached out to the Finger Lakes Community College. They have a graphic design department and a couple of programs around graphic design. And they have a few different ways that they work with community organizations to support projects like this. And so sometime over the course of the next, I think sometime before the end of the year, either over the summer or during the fall semester, we'll be able to work with them potentially to have a student of theirs or a group of students work on some new concepts for logos, and it would be either free or very low cost, and a good way to partner with local education institutions with some practical experience for students coming out of their programs. So looking to add to their portfolios and a good way to show kind of partnership amongst the groups. So I have sent over some information to the instructors, and they're going to get back to me on what the best course of action is, but unless there's any concerns about that, we'll continue with trying to come up with something a little more modern.
So into the coffee cups now.
Shortly thereafter.
Is it free?
Free.
It's
Because I like free.
free, it's free or like a small donation to a scholarship fund. It will not be
That's good.
thousands of dollars.
I don't know how much a graphic designer costs.
Thousands of dollars.
So we'll get some computer files, like JPEGs or something, and we'll replace them on the website and put them on the sign.
Yeah, so typically what you would get out of this is you'll get the JPEG of vector files, you can size it for like signage or whatnot, and then some backup documentation with the colors and stuff, so you can make sure that they're being consistent with your branding.
That would be good.
Okay, so we've heard Joe's report. Are there any questions? Any questions for Tracy? The logo? Alrighty, we're going to proceed to number 4 resolution. And the first resolution is 2622. Review the approval of INEX contract. NX. So, do we have a motion for this?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All right, so we got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, then all those in favor of signing this agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? They're doing a good job for you, right, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, that's what's important. Number 2, 26-23, authorizing LDI capital grant for the land bank project, Flacker, I mean, not Flacker. Okay, so is there a motion? Okay, Joe made a motion, second?
Second.
Second, okay. All righty, so we got a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussion on resolution 2623? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No one was opposed. Okay. And the last one, number 3, 26-24, acquire 19 Locust Street in Waterloo, New York. Okay, is there a motion for that? Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on this resolution of acquiring 19 Locust Street in Waterloo, New York? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No one's opposed. That's our 3 resolutions, and now we're gonna ask Esther if she has anything to me. Any legal advice or?
Generally speaking, yes. No, I think nothing specific on these projects. I mean, we're sort of, as things come up, just working on them, getting the properties conveyed, making sure these report correctly. As we move through these projects, there'll be more that we'll do.
Anybody have any questions for our attorney? I know there's nothing on here with Tracy, but I know you spoke, but do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I would just say I did, Joe and I went out on Friday and took a look at all the properties and put signs out, and it was just really interesting to see all the properties that you've gotten your hands on and some of the cool things that you're able to do with them. So that was a fun tour of the county and your properties. So we've got some good stuff out there.
It wasn't raining.
It was not raining. It was a beautiful day.
Did you bring her inside 19 Locust Street, Joe?
No, because we don't have any.
Are you gonna, you can send us some pictures, right? Some of these sites or the address, so when you're driving around, we might stop, or when I go down there to Mid-Lake Sales all the time and buy stuff.
Yes, I can forward around a list of addresses and some pictures.
Yeah.
If I write it down, so I remember to do it.
They're also on the website, they're all listed there, and they all have some, either a map or some sort of a picture.
It's good publicity, we're making progress. Okay, so the treasurer is not here today. Are you gonna act as treasurer, Joe? For a brief?
I will say 2 very brief things.
Okay.
I think Tracy can explain the revenue, I am at a loss for words here. We needed to flip how we were recognizing the revenue from the LBI grants.
For specifically the SHI project. So the Seneca Housing Project had its own revenue line previously, and the accountants weren't fully aware of the LBI funds that were going to be moving for the capital component of that project. So there has been a switch, and what they do is the amount of land-based initiative funds that were approved by the board are now recognized as revenue on the profit and loss statement, the income statement. And then they're also a receivable on your balance sheet. So as we spend the money and get it back, that receivable will be reduced over time. But so you'll see that we track the funds both on as income on the P&L, but also as a receivable on the balance sheet, and any money that is spent that's not going through LBI or not being reimbursed by the lending initiative, that will show up on the Seneca Housing project for the revenue. And there's not a lot of that. Some was recognized that was reimbursed by LBI previously. So there's some shifting they have to do with those funds, but, just know that it shows up on both sides. And then you'll see that new line for the planning initiative funds. All of that, I think it's like, what, $1,750,000, does that sound right?
No, that is the total amount of stabilization, new construction, rehab. For Seneca Housing, the committed amount was $1,450,000.
Sorry. So the $1,450,000 of notice should be recognized as revenue, even though we haven't seen it come through yet. It might be a slightly different number because of some of the money that was already spent.
So for the stuff that we spent in LBI phase 2, the previous, for the pre-development section, I am going to ask you this question not at the meeting because it's more, because I can't make my words what I need them to be when talking about QuickBooks in public. But I just want to make sure that we are counting the LBIs where they're supposed to be, and whether they're received or the opposite of received is being lined up correctly based on the grant. I think I am making it plainly clear that I am not an accountant. So, like I said, I always know how much money we have, and I know what it's supposed to be going forward. How that gets represented on the books is where we need the professional services to do that for us.
I'm noticing here that this happened in May, and these are through April, so you won't actually see that recognized revenue. The May ones, you're gonna start seeing that shift. You should start seeing that shift, because I believe they made all those changes in May.
Okay. So,
All that stuff I just said isn't actually on your financials.
all right, so I circled the number and thought that's what that was. Okay,
Which number?
we have $94,000 in the bank as of April 30th, 2026.
Yeah.
That's what we understand, yeah.
And we had 141, I believe this line, and it makes sense for what I did. We had $141,247 on the line of credit, which has been paid off back to zero at that time as well. But you'll see that represented on the balance sheet. So that's down to zero. Just wanted to make you aware that we use the line to cover the delays in the county transitioning the ARPA fees, the funding to Seneca Housing. We worked out the kinks with the finance department and planning and everything, so the next one came through, we didn't need to repay it. But the first one we did, so we covered it with a line of credit, and it was only a week or two before the county caught up and they cut the check to Seneca Housing, which they then put back to us through the line of credit. So that's what that $141,000 was on the line at that moment. And the reason we have the line. So everything worked as expected.
Okay. If you have any specific questions, you can call Joe on the phone. But Mike comes and goes.
Yeah, and I think we'll have, hopefully Tracy will be able to have a conversation with Mike to explain what's going on with the recognizing revenue piece.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because I have betrayed that I cannot talk about those issues coherently at this meeting.
They recognize the revenue up front. That's basically what you need to know.
You're an accountant, they'll say,
Yes.
And what were we doing before?
That is what they've been doing before. The issue with the Seneca Housing Project is they didn't realize the LBI capital money was in there until this last month. When we started actually trying to do some disbursements, So they were recognizing it on a project line instead of on a county line. So that's really kind of a shift. And with LBI in the mix, they're recognizing that whole grant amount, whereas when they were doing it on a project basis, they were recognizing it as it happened. But with the grant being approved, they want to recognize that upfront.
Is there any new business coming before the?
Did we need motions on those then? Were we doing motions on the treasurer's report as,
On the report.
What, on the treasurer's report?
We usually do it, but
Yeah.
it's not that it's necessary, it's just that's our practice to do it.
I'll make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report with 94,000.
There you go.
Alright.
Second.
Second,
So we got a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. The next meeting, same.
Tuesday, June
Gonna be in
23rd?
June, right? June,
Gonna be in
the
June.
last
23rd.
Tuesday, 25th?
23rd.
Third.
23rd, all right, June 23rd.
Thank you, Caitlin. I always know that question's coming and I fail to prepare for it every single time.
Last month I did not have it in my template. This month I made sure I put it in there.
Alrighty, so I want to thank everybody for coming today on this first sunny day in spring. Enjoy the board meeting, everybody.
Yeah.